I also took away a little bit on the work front, but a little bit is like this idea of community. And how do you build that? And how do you build your team having this community so that they feel included? Now a lot of us are remote. And so how
Yeah.
do you build that feeling and that excitement around it? And I think that's been really important.
Hello, welcome. I am Kim DeCarolis. We're here with the Prosper Brief. I have the absolute pleasure as a 2024 alumni of a Prosper Accelerator to introduce Alex Brown. Alex
you.
Brown is with Toast, a very dear friend of mine as well. So this session, we're going to try to keep it professional, but I just have the honor of being here with her today. And so Alex, welcome to Prosper. And then tell me, I'm so excited you're here. Tell me, how has your experience been so far?
Thank you. I will say that you are a dear friend and a mentor to me in the industry. And you told me before I was coming that it's a different type of trade show experience. We go to a lot of trade shows together, I would say 6 times a year. And
Yeah.
you said it's just going to be different. And I had such high expectations, and it's been so much more than that. I'm a new manager in the industry. So I've been at Toast for about 5.5 years and decided to take a leadership role. I was nominated by my chief marketing officer. And you,
Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly. Thank you, Kelly. You and Jeremy have encouraged me to take this opportunity and grab the bull by the horns. And it's really exceeded any expectations. And you really sold it to me. And I am so happy to be here. And I'm really honored to be a part of this program.
That's awesome. So coming here, obviously you met your Prosper 10, right? You met your group, you met your small group. How do you feel that this conference, I know you mentioned, is a little bit different or more elevated. Can you just expand on that a little bit?
Sure. I would say that shout out to group 4, my cohort 4. It's been amazing so far. We met before and kind of had a know before you go session. And we met with cohort 4 and talked about our interests and some fun things about ourselves. And we kind of came in here all feeling excited. And so to be able to learn from other people in the industry, it's been really amazing. And I would say that what's different, I think, here is that everyone seems to be ready and willing to help the next generation. You hear everyone keep saying a seat at the table and to be a part of this community. And you really see the leaders, CEOs of huge multi-million, billion-dollar corporations that are just in the hallway talking to you about their leadership style or what's important to them. Or, I talked to Greg Creed multiple times this week about how to be your authentic self. And to me, it's so invigorating to come in and learn from these, for lack of a better term, titans of the industry and really be able to shape the leader who I want to be and be able to come back to Toast and help my team grow and scale and help us do better and be better and have seats at the table. So I've been ferociously writing notes in my notebook, and I'm just really excited.
That's awesome. And, we have Prosper Accelerate coming up, and it's going to be a multi-day process where we have all the accelerators come in and talk about the things that are important in the industry. And, at Prosper Forum, how can we take this and then make it multiple places? So one of the things that I think is super important, especially now in your management role, is for you to take this back to your team. What, as of right now, what are the top 4 nuggets or 3 nuggets that you would go back and share with your team on, this is what we're going to focus on, or this is what I was inspired by while I was at Prosper?
Gosh, I wish I had my notebook on me because there's so
okay.
many things. I think what's really stuck with me is to be your authentic self and to listen. I think listen more than you talk. You heard a lot about this from a lot of CEOs of different brands. And I think that's super important for me because as a former individual contributor, your first instinct, I guess, is to just do it for them. And it's nope, listen and have everyone have a seat at the table and have ideas. I also took away a little bit on the work front, but a little bit is this idea of community. And how do you build that? And how do you build your team having this community so that they feel included now a lot of us are remote. And so how you build that feeling and that excitement around it. And I think that's been really important. And then the other nuggets I would say that I took away is a lot of the industry trends that are coming up and what our customers are facing. And I think I want to bring a lot of that back to the team to show them what is on the other side. Sometimes I think as in tech sales, you forget about, who are we servicing and what is that important? And the guest experience has been talked a lot about, and how do we help enhance that versus just selling technology?
That's awesome. And, one of the things I think is super important, like while we're at this show, is like you said, the reach and the community of the network. And, Prosper does a phenomenal job of keeping the table, right? Keeping the table together and making sure that everyone is included. And you talk to someone and you're like, I'm sorry, who are you with? I'm the CEO of whomever, but everyone's guard is down. And I just, I always feel invigorated when I leave these conferences that I have more people to reach out to with industry questions or, questions in terms of growth and where I'm going next in careers and life. And, I was a huge fan of my group, my cohort, right? And it's just a family that you leave with. And it's so being here, one of the things that I think is super cool and super important is understanding the reach in the community that you have. So this is just a fangirl question, right? So who are some of the top leaders that you met that just like truly, let's give them like a fangirl shout out for like just saying hello and chatting with you while you've been here?
Yeah, I would say Greg Creed stands out huge. I think when he spoke about things that were happening in the industry, as a woman in the industry coming in, it was really important for me to tell him what that meant to me and some of the other people in my cohort and so that was a really cool moment. I've never met him before. I have never seen that, and then Hugh from PepsiCo, he was so nice. And I was able to talk to him after he gave a little TED talk. On the first day, we had little TED talks from a lot of the different CEOs, and it was crazy cool. And so it was like afterwards, I was like, I really like that you said, this, and this. And he's like, thank you so much. And so it was just a real like human to human moment. But just being able to talk to those two have been really cool so far.
Well, that's awesome. So Alex, we are wrapping up.
Amazing.
But best part we're going to end with is we have about 24 hours left to Prosper.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to? What is like your highlights as we're doing a send off here?
I think the highlight for me is going to be like continuing to be with my cohort. We were saying last night, I'll leave you with one story. I had a few girls in my cohort and we were watching you and a couple of the titans in the industry. And they were like, that's going to be us someday. And it was really cool to say, like, to meet them and be able to connect with them. But I think to continue to build connections, I think I woke up this morning saying, okay, you have 24 hours left. Who do you want to talk to? What talks do you want to see? And it's been really amazing. So thank you for everything you've done for me.
I will always be there for you.
For continuing to encourage me to stretch myself and grow. And I think one of the things that you've always said and other people have said this week of adding to that little nugget of what I've learned is if you're not growing, like you should be uncomfortable. And I am uncomfortable a lot of the time. And you're stretching and you're growing. And so I'm just excited to continue to learn from everyone here.
No, that's wonderful. And I think something that I was talking with Rob Lynch about, we did a podcast yesterday, but we were talking yesterday evening. And I was like, the whole part of Prosper is just creating that trampoline that like you are literally never going to fall and you have to jump, right? You have to jump, but you're going to bounce always back up, especially with this community and what Prosper does for us. So I appreciate you being here. Welcome to Prosper.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
We're so excited. So keep going. And we're excited to have you in my seat next year doing some of these podcasts and doing all of these things.
I'm going to put that out there.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Attention emerging leaders in food service and hospitality. Are you ready to accelerate your career? If so, join us for the Accelerate Conference on October 22nd through the 24th at the Omni Hotel in Dallas, Texas. Gain insights from over 1,000 collective years of business and leadership experience. Engage in more than 30 focused breakout sessions. Be inspired by 5 empowering general sessions featuring industry experts. Don't miss this opportunity to build valuable connections and elevate your leadership talent to give your business the competitive edge it deserves. Register today at prosperaccelerate.com.